Algebra 2, target 36. I can draw an angle in standard position and identify coterminal angles. All right, so an angle. Everyone knows what an angle is. It's two rays that share an endpoint. Now, typically, anybody can draw an angle. Got an angle there. But what we like to do in math is we want to kind of have a standardized method for referring to those angles. And so what we do is we draw them in what's called standard position. And that means we're going to take our angle. We want it to match up. If we have an XY axis, we want one side to match up with the positive X side. And the other side of our angle will match up, will go rotated counterclockwise from that position. So the angle I just drew in standard position would be right here on the XY axis. Now we got a couple names for these angles, or these parts of angles. We got ourselves the initial side and the terminal side. We call it the initial side because that's where we start. That's our first side. And our terminal side is where it ends. And like I said, we rotate counterclockwise. So that's an angle in standard position. So draw the angles with the given measures in standard position. All right, so it's 240 degrees. We'll get ourselves out a little XY axis. And we'll draw 240 in standard position. Well, we start on the positive x-axis. So there's our initial side. And then we go 240 degrees around. All right, 180 goes right to here. If we go further, this line down here will become 270, so we don't want to go quite that far. We're going to go about 30 degrees less than that, so we go right to here. Right there, that would be an angle with 240 degrees. All right, 500 degrees. We'll do 500 degrees in purple. First thing you should notice about 500 degrees is it's more than a full rotation because it's larger than 360. A full circle is 360 degrees. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract off that full rotation. 500 minus 360 degrees, we got 140 degrees left. So what we're really going to draw is we're going to draw a 140 degree angle. All right? So here's 180. We want to be 40 degrees less than that. That would put us right about here. And that's a 500 degree angle. So we do first the full rotation, then we come around to get our 500 degree angle. Here's our initial side. We rotate a full rotation plus 140 degrees more. Now the negative angle, negative mathematically just means we're going backwards. So negative 50 degrees, that means instead of going counterclockwise like we normally would, we'll go backwards. So we'll start at our initial side and we'll go backwards 50 degrees. And that's our negative 50 degree angle. So those are those three angles drawn in standard position. Now coterminal, what does coterminal means? Co usually means two. Terminal, like we said, means ends. Coterminals are two angles that end in the same position. In the last example, 500 degrees and 140 degrees, they were coterminal because they ended in the same position. They were two different angles because the 500 had an extra rotation on it, but they were coterminal. If you're just looking at the end result, they're at the same spot. So a coterminal angle, any angle coterminal with a given angle can be found by adding and subtracting multiples of 360. So coterminals are just 360 higher or 360 lower than the angle you're starting with. All right, so find one positive and one negative angle that are coterminal with the two given angles. All right, let's do 45 degrees first. or negative 45 degrees. Right, we want two coterminal angles, one that's positive and one that's negative. Well, if we take the negative 45 degrees and we add 360, we get 315 degrees. There's one coterminal angle. There's one positive coterminal angle. Now we want a negative coterminal angle. So we added 360 to get the positive. Let's subtract 360 to get the next angle. We got negative 405 degrees. So those are two coterminal angles with negative 45 degrees. All right, 395 degrees. All right, we can add 360. We can subtract 360. I'm going to start by subtracting 360. So 395 degrees minus 360 degrees gets us negative 30 or positive 35 degrees. Right, that's one coterminal angle. It's one positive coterminal angle. And we'll get our next one by subtracting 360 again. And we've got negative 325 degrees. So those are two coterminal angles with 395 degrees. And again, to get coterminal angles, you just add or subtract rotations. On the first one, we added a rotation and subtracted a rotation from the original angle. On the second one, from the original angle, we subtracted a rotation, and then we did it again. So we're just seeing taking off rotations end up in the same spot. Draw an angle at the given measure in standard position, then find one positive coterminal angle and one negative coterminal angle. So 65 degrees will be in the first quadrant. It'll be right around here. To get a positive coterminal angle, we'll just add 360. So 65 degrees plus 360, we got 425 degrees. To get a negative, we'll subtract 360. 65 degrees minus 360, we get negative 295 degrees. 230, we draw that. That's not quite to the third boundary. And it's a little bit past the second boundary. So that'd be about 40 away here. That's 230. We will add 360 to get the last one, or to get the positive coterminal. And we'll subtract 360 to get the second, the negative coterminal angle. Try the next two on your own and check your answers. All right, so 300 degrees, we will draw that right here. Coterminal, you take 360 plus 300, you get 660 degrees as coterminal. If you subtract 360, negative 60 degrees is coterminal. For 740, let's find the coterminal first. It actually makes it easier to draw if we find the coterminal first. So we'll subtract 360, and we got 380. That's one coterminal. We'll subtract 360 again. We got 20. So that's actually right there after two rotations. And to get a negative, subtract 360 from 20, we get negative 340 degrees. Those are the coterminal angles for 740. 380, 20, and negative 340. And it's drawn in the first quadrant. Right? So that's angles in standard position. Remember, we start from the positive x-axis. We go around counterclockwise. And then coterminal angles are just rotations above or below where you're starting at. So 360 more or 360 less.